now, the learners will have a definite pile, a maybe not pile, and a probably not pile. And they will then go into a process where they will create a collage from all these images that has meaning for them. I'm going to be using this collage for now as my example that I'm going to be transforming into a mural. But what I do want to mention is that the most important thing before they start is that the shape of the paper needs to be to scale to the shape of the wall. So for example, if the paper is rectangular, if the wall is rectangular, then the paper needs to be rectangular. If the wall is more square, then the paper needs to be square. So that is very important. And the next thing is how to start, how to go about beginning this collage. And I'll talk a little bit later about how to transform it into a mural. So by now the pieces are cut into different shapes, and the learners are going to play around, and the story is going to come together. So keeping in mind that they're working with not just images, but things that have spoken to them, and often these things come from the subconscious and are symbols for something that means something to them. Now, a symbol is something that has a deeper meaning. For example, here's a crocodile and an egg. That's what the photograph is of. But for one person, this could mean new life, reptilians and amphibians. For another person, that may mean danger. So it's important not to judge what the learner is choosing and not to judge the relationship that they use. So moving into the collage, the first thing is to choose what they're going to use as their background. So for example, water may be important. So it could be a waterfall, or it could be something green. This might have come to them, maybe looking at a great tree. So they're going to be playing around a little bit with images and trying to decide what it is that speaks to them most. Do they want the crocodile to look like it's going to eat this little girl? No, I don't think so, not for 100% sustainability. And so they'll play around a little bit. What is most important? Bird life. Perhaps there's, I don't know, it's like quite an interesting process to see. Is this a woman that they want kind of in a meditative pose, speaking to Mother Nature perhaps? Maybe this boat is important, coming down the river somehow. And so they're going to play around with their images until they get some kind of combination that says something to them. And the most wonderful thing about this process is that scale doesn't really play a big part, because the images can be large, they can be small, they can be overlapping, and then you really do get these wonderful imaginary stories that come out. What I do want to mention is that if teachers have a lot of time and resources, they can offer to color photocopy a background to make it larger. If not, keeping in mind that one can always use oil pastels once you've glued your image down, so you are going to need your glue stick. And one can paint or use oil pastels into the background. So it's really a way of extending the image. So I'm not going to take too much time, but oil pastels can be used over the magazine images. You can also use food coloring first, and then you can use paint. So in a nutshell, they can create a design through using other mediums as well. And then they can then choose, okay, it needs to be square, so which part of it am I going to cut into a square, or which part of it am I going to use for my rectangle? And so they'll go on until they come to a really imaginative and out-of-the-box design that they can transform into their mural. So I know they're going to really enjoy it. I'd like the teachers to experiment beforehand. It really is a beautiful and personal process, therapeutic and empowering.